Everyone's favorite nuclear behemoth, Godzilla, got his start over 50 years ago in 1954, when Japan was still suffering from the after effects of World War II and the bombings. The Big G's actual name is Gojira, a mixture of the words gorilla and whale in Japanese. The studio responsible for Godzilla's stardom, Toho, gave the King of the Monsters his start as a direct allegory for the nuclear bombings during the world's most devastating war, World War II. The original film, entitled Gojira, was a deeply disturbing and emotional horror film, representing the devastation and emotional toll of the nuclear bombings all too well. After the success of his first film, Godzilla was immediately cemented into pop culture, and in the years to come, Godzilla would slowly shift from his horror roots to the campy monster most are familiar with. During the 60s and 70s, Godzilla films were pumped out on an almost yearly basis, giving birth to a huge rogues gallery of aliens, giant robots, and tons of awesome monster villains. The first series of Godzilla films, known as the Showa era, ended in 1975 with the decent film Terror of Mechagodzilla. However, the king didn't disappear for long. He made a comeback 9 years later with the appropriately named Return of Godzilla in 1984. The film gave birth to a new Godzilla series known as the Heisei series, which ignored all previous films except for the first. The Heisei series revamped many of Godzilla's classic enemies and introduced a few new ones before Godzilla's highly publicized death and the awesome 1995 finale, Godzilla vs. Destroya. With Godzilla's passing, Toho announced that the character would be entering another cinematic hibernation, making way for Dean Delvin and Ronald Emmerich's disastrous American remake, simply entitled Godzilla. The American movie featured a completely new creature and storyline, vaguely keeping the monster's origins in line with the original. The movie did very well at the box office, but not a true Godzilla fan in existence left the theater satisfied. The American remake was intended to spawn a series of movies, but initial fan reaction canned the idea and led Toho to resurrect Godzilla prematurely from his hiatus. He made his triumphant return to Japan with Godzilla Millennium in 1999, spawning a wishy-washy series of films known as the Millennium series, each trying to reinvent the classic creature. In 2004, Toho celebrated Godzilla's 50th anniversary with the blowout epic Godzilla Final Wars. The film featured a redesign of over a dozen classic monsters, aliens, mutants, and a lot of other things that just didn't add up. The anniversary film was mediocre at best and continued the trend of decreasing box office sales for Godzilla, resulting in his third retirement from film. Now, Legendary Pictures is planning another revamp of the Godzilla series, this one much more in line with the respected classic Toho films. It seems the Hollywood stars have aligned and the future is bright once again for the world's most beloved monster, Godzilla.